Steve Beres enlisted in the Army after high school. He excelled in special forces and was deployed several times in the 1980s and 90s. In the wake of 9/11, he again answered the call to serve in Afghanistan. While on patrol, his unit was attacked, leaving Steve with life-changing injuries.
During my injury, my entire face was gone. One of my hardest times, besides, the initial injury and all of that, was being sent home and being totally blind and having not received any rehabilitation training or anything at that point. There were times when, I wish I had died at the time of injury. And all the pain and everything else that was going on and the reconstructive surgeries and all that, it was a really tough time. But I remember my ex was gone and Griffin and Delaney were hungry. And so I had to take care of them. And I remember that I went to go make them a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Now, once again, I hadn't received any rehabilitation at all. I just had to kind of do it by touch and feel and try to do the best I can. But they wanted, peanut butter and jelly sandwich, so I got everything out and spread the peanut butter on the bread. Probably didn't hit all the corners, but I tried to. But I made them a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and, got everything out of the cabinet in the fridge and handed them their sandwiches. And I'll never forget, they took a bite and first thing I heard was, "Oh!" And I'm like, "What?" And well, it turns out that our Miracle Whip container feels just like the jelly container. So they ended up with peanut butter and Miracle Whip sandwiches. That was the moment for me where it clicked that, no matter how I felt, my emotional state, my physical pain or whatever else, that they needed me. It clicks at different times for different people. And for some people, maybe it never clicks. You kind of hope that they find that point and that, that one moment where, they're not looking to give up, but they're ready to jump back in. And that was the moment for me. And I had to stick around. I had to go through rehabilitation and I had to move forward and all that. And it was all because of them. So, realistically, they saved me.
Steve's realization that others needed him truly revived his servant nature. While working at the VA, he earned 2 master's degrees and a doctorate in occupational therapy. In 2013, Steve landed at Regions in a unique role as the bank's first service members and Veterans Affairs manager.
I enjoy working with service members and veterans just because they were my family for 22 years, and we have a lot of those shared experiences. I've met with folks at the Department of Defense. I've worked with individual military units. Anything and everything within Regions that can touch or could potentially touch a service member, veteran, wounded warrior, or family member kind of falls underneath my umbrella, and I get the opportunity to work with everybody.
What he's doing from a financial wellness standpoint is important. If somebody's overseas and has a family back home, you want to make sure that they're taking all the right steps so they don't have to worry about that on a daily basis. And the financial wellness programs that Steve is introducing to these groups does make a big difference.
I think Steve is the person that I would pick to be an advocate for veterans because he understands not only the junior enlisted part, he understands the whole career avenue, and he also understands being the wounded, whether it's an actual physical wound, whether it's the wounds of battle, whether it's going through a divorce because of going to battle. We're helping these individuals, and to see Steve say, "I can come through it, you're helping others come through it, I want to be a part of it." That's the amazing part of being with Steve.
He is a very hardworking, dedicated, very passionate individual about anything and everything that he undertakes. He accepts his disability, but he doesn't look at it as a disability, nor do I. It's just he does things a little bit differently, but he's very effective. He gets the job done.
It's possible to overcome those challenges. And for me, my vision loss, my blindness has become more of an inconvenience than a disability.
When he talks to others, he can clearly empathize with what their situation is. But he's not going to give them any slack to wallow in self-pity, because certainly he's not doing that. He's moving forward and working on how he can improve not only himself, but everybody else around him.
We all may have some type of disability. It may be hidden, it may be physical, maybe something we don't even know about. And as we grow older, that may affect us, but it makes us look at things a little different. And I think through Steve's eyes, and I use that literally, it opens up a new vision to everyone.
I went to a Regions event about a month ago. It was a sponsor for a Wounded Warrior summer sports event, and it was over in Clearwater. And I had the Regions tent up and all of our, marketing materials and all of that. But as a veteran and a Wounded Warrior myself, I got to go out there and work with these guys and gals, and some of them went through much more horrific injuries than mine. But I had the chance to, maybe we shouldn't tell everybody this, but I got to work that day in a swimsuit and all that out on the beach with all of these Wounded Warriors, and got to go out and kayak with them. And one of the veterans that I went out in the kayak with, it worked well because he was a double arm amputee. And so he could see, he didn't have arms. I couldn't see, but I have arms, so they put us in a tandem kayak, and we just started paddling out into the Gulf. And, he was my eyes, I was his arms. And of course, he waited till we were about 100 yards out, and then he decided to flip himself out of the kayak. Guy with no arms, because he couldn't take his prosthetics out there because he has these high-tech electronic prosthetics and all of that. And so, of course, he was laughing like a madman at the whole thing. But it was funny. We had to get out there, grab him by the vest, put him back up on the kayak while he was laughing hysterically until we got about 30 feet away from the beach, and then he decided to dive out of the kayak again and kick his way to the beach and all of that. But I look at somebody like that who has no arms, and you could tell he got over it. It had clicked for him, and he decided to bail out of the kayak in the middle of the Gulf, and he was just kicking away, I'm blind as a bat, but I'm healthy as a horse. So I look at somebody like that, and I'm like, what is my story? I just try to go out there and do what I can to, like Regent says, to kind of make life better.
Congratulations, Steve Beres, the recipient of the Regions Bank Better Life Award.